This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Luke Sylvia and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic. What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is January 16th, 2023. Jonathan Osborne here, as always, joined by my co-host, Luke Sylvia. Luke, how are you?
I'm worse than you, rocking your Daniel Jones jersey. I mean, I'm glad you got that today, because I had a feeling tonight would go result the same. I didn't think it would go this way, but I'm happy for you that at least, you were on the right side of a heartbreaker for some.
It was a very, all of my emotional energy, especially as a sports fan, was just so drained today. I feel like I thought to myself, do I care too much about my sports teams today? I really had to sit there and evaluate, because when the Giants, made the stop on the fourth down, basically to seal the game against the Vikings, and I'm screaming, and it's, after 7 o'clock, almost 8 o'clock here, I'm like, man, I'm probably waking up my kids. We live with my brother-in-law and his fiance. Am I gonna make their dogs go crazy? And I'm just like, man, I'm too wrapped up into this. And then the Magic lose on a freaking buzzer beater, down 15 at half, come all the way back. You have a 4-point lead in the fourth quarter. You kind of ruin that. Jamal Murray fouls Markelle Fultz with the Nuggets up 1. I'm like, what is happening? Are they trying to lose this game? Of course, Markelle Fultz, who I was like, hasn't Markelle Fultz been a really good free throw shooter the first few years with the Magic? Correct. Usually he's above 80%. This year he's shooting 69%. Nice. Not so nice for us because he splits them, and then Jokic comes down and hits the just crazy three. We're going to talk about that game, but just a crazy roller coaster of emotions. I should be riding Cloud 9 right now, but I am not, because I'm not over that Magic loss. After we've talked about it and I vented, I've moved on from that, and then I go watch Talking Giants Talking Giants right after this, and I relive the awesome performance that was Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is good, by the way. All of you haters can suck it. Once I relive that, I'll be on Cloud 9 again. But right now, I'm still sick to my stomach about that Magic loss, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it was a tough one, man. It was a tough one. We'll talk more about it, but we'll get into why it was a tough one, and I'll kind of explain my reasoning as well.
Yeah. Before we get into that, folks, just a couple of housekeeping items. As we're doing our best, we're giving our best, most valiant effort to get our boys Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero to the All-Star game. So second returns for All-Star voting came out this week. Paolo Banchero still 8th in the Eastern Conference front court voting. So really awesome to see that. Probably not going to get to the All-Star game, but the fact that he's already top 8 front court voting in the Eastern Conference bodes pretty well for our boy Paolo to be a perennial all-star for years and years to come. But today, as you all are listening to this, if you're listening to this on the 16th, today is a 3-for-1 day. So make sure you head to vote.nba.com, or you can vote in the NBA app for your favorite Magic players. And then the 20th is going to be the last 3-for-1 day. All-Star voting ends the 21st. So make sure you guys are doing a great job. You guys are absolutely killing it. I didn't think Paolo, when All-Star voting started, Luke, I didn't think there was any way Paolo was going to be 8th in the Eastern front court voting. So the fact that he is just shows that Magic fans have been putting in work.
Magic fans have been putting in work, and also I don't think it's nothing that he was the number 1 overall pick. I wonder what it would have been like if, let's say, in some alternate universe, the Magic get the 3rd overall pick, and Paolo falls to the Magic at 3, kind of like Houston was suspecting. Suck it, nerds. But I wonder kind of what the narrative would have been like at the very beginning of the season. I just feel like out of the gate, because he was the number 1 overall pick, it was such a weird scenario that he got picked 1 where nobody knew that it was coming until minutes before the pick. I wonder if people were just more locked in at the beginning of the season. They see Paolo drops whatever he had against Detroit, 27 or 26 points in his first game, his rookie debut, and all those things, cameras, lights on him, that sort of thing. I wonder, but I so I don't want to not acknowledge the number one pick boost, but I'll take it because we got it. But he's absolutely deserving of being, in that conversation already, regardless. I just think that, he's been incredible. I don't need to tell you guys this or you, Jonathan, that, but it's nice to see that. I don't think it's just Magic fans voting for Paolo. I think he's got love from other people. I think that, there's more than Magic fans to get him into that top 10.
Well, so I'm looking at last year's NBA All-Star voting results, and the only rookie last year that even sniffed the top 10, at least in the Eastern Conference, was Evan Mobley. So when we're talking about like the most notable rookies, we're talking about Cade, Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, Franz Wagner, Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham. Those guys didn't even sniff the top 10. So like Cade Cunningham, to your point, was the number 1 overall pick last year, and we know that Paolo is having like an all-time rookie season. Like every night, it's first guy since LeBron, Kareem, like Will, like Oscar Robertson, whatever. So Paolo is having like an all-time rookie season, but I think it's more of that. Like he's just having like he was the number 1 overall pick.
Agreed.
But in terms like he's having a historic rookie season, not the best rookie season ever, but he's up there with like some all-timers. So really, really encouraging. Like I said, Magic fans are showing out. It's a ton of fun. Speaking of showing out, I was in the Atlanta airport today, and I saw a dude on my flight from Atlanta to Tampa just decked out in Magic gear. Like hoodie, hat, the whole thing. Like you don't see Magic fans out in the wild, especially in Atlanta. And I think I was in the Tampa airport on Friday, and there was like, no, in Atlanta. It was in Atlanta. Again, when I arrived in Atlanta, there was like a 13-year-old girl in a Magic hoodie. And I had my Magic hoodie on. I was like, go Magic. And she's like, gave me like the awkward like little thumbs up that like a 13-year-old does when like a strange man is talking to them in public. She was with her parents. Let's throw that out there. Like this is not any kind of stranger danger. But yeah, you don't see Magic fans out in the wild, and I saw 2 of them at the Atlanta airport this week.
What about the guy? Did you say go Magic to the guy today?
When he got on my flight, I wasn't gonna like walk across the airport like go Magic. But when he walked onto the plane, I threw him the the go Magic. He's like, yeah. So anyways, folks, let's talk about the weekly state of our Orlando Magic. Not a great report this week. The Magic went 1-3, bringing them to a record of 16-28 on the season, the 5th worst record in the league, 13th in the Eastern Conference, but they are still just 4 games back of Chicago now for the final play-in spot. The Magic have an offensive rating of 110.8, which ranks 25th in the NBA. They have a defensive rating of 114.4, which ranks 24th in the NBA. Their overall net rating is negative 3.6, which ranks 26th in the NBA. Jonathan Isaac still out for the Orlando Magic, although he did play his 2nd game this weekend for the Lakeland Magic, which we will talk about in a moment. Chuma Okeke, good grief. I hate myself. I just have that so ingrained and burned into my brain. I just can't let it go. Chuma Okeke still remains out with the I think it was the the procedure that he had in his knee that trimmed the cartilage, the chondroplasty. There we go. They said he was going to be reevaluated 4 weeks after that. We're coming up on 4 weeks, so I would suspect that we would hear something about Chuma Okeke this week. I wouldn't expect him to be back super soon, but we should hear an update, just kind of how he is progressing through his recovery from that procedure. Before we get into talking about Jonathan Isaac and his 2nd game this past week with the Lakeland Magic, we want to take a moment to shout out the folks that make every episode of the Six Man Show possible, our patrons. If you haven't heard already, if you're a new listener, we do have a Patreon community that you can join. We have 4 awesome tiers. You can find us at patreon.com/the Six Man Show. We have benefits ranging from, hey, you're just really helping us out, helping support the show. For $2 a month, and then our $15 tier, our elite tier, you get things like monthly Zoom calls with us. You can join our Discord channel, and then that tier, exclusive to that tier, you can get discounts on Orlando Magic home game tickets. So if that interests you, again, you can find us at patreon.com/the Six Man Show. We shout out special patrons every episode, usually new patrons, or if they upgrade to a tier, we shout them out on every episode. So shout out to Oddity OG, who joined at our All-Star tier. And then a big shout out to our buddy Armin, who has really been supporting our Patreon since the very beginning. He went the Elite Annual tier. So a big shout out to Armin. We really, really appreciate that, man. Oddity OG and Armin, thank you both so much for your support. And then on top of shouting out our new patrons, or if somebody upgrades during the week, we also shout out all of our Hall of Fame tier and all of our Elite tier patrons on every episode, which is what I'm going to do now. Shout out Court Cousins, Armin, Carson Tulo, Jonathan Borges, Normal, Magic Player History, Julio Bailey, Gabe Gaines, Wiffle, Michael Martin, Jamel Miller, Michael Salapong, Franz Go to Fishow, The Distract, Mo Bamba Yo Mama, petition to get Kristen Ledlow in the meetings. We'll see what we can do about that. That is not a bad idea. Pierre A, Migzors, Nostalgia, and M&M's. Hey, shout out to Petition, who is just like giving up on Kevin Tucker joining every episode, by the way, as we basically have at this time. Nostalgia and M&M's, Dylan Holden, Mr. Mikey, Lil Penny, Eduardo Sanchez, Drum, Danimal, Dodo15, Bobby Skinner, Goody93, Teddy Sylvia, Eric Lopez, Fuchsia, Juan Geraldo, Bill Folden, Edmund Lagone, Hosea Squealan, Destined for Greatness, Caleb Pete, Cannibalism, Time Mr. TV, Joe Rothfuss, ESPN Really Sucks, Gear 95 Shred, Junior Bruce, who, if you're counting score at home, I did pronounce Junior Bruce's name correctly, so take that. Half Rican, Shahin177, Himlo Ban Himro, RM Prof 221, Ray Pastrana, Magic Kid 714, Let's Bank, Don't Tank, Soft Taco, and Jesse. Big shout out to all of our Elite tier patrons and our Hall of Fame tier patrons, and a special shout out to one of our patrons, Fuchsia, who drove, I think it was 7 hours to watch the Sacramento Kings on Monday, and they got absolutely smacked. So shout out to Fuchsia, who is a real one, driving that far, and unfortunately the Magic didn't give you the result that we had hoped for. But again, a big shout out to all of our patrons. You can find us at patreon.com/the6man-show. Luke, so we talked about Jonathan Isaac's game on Wednesday, kind of his rehab assignment debut for this season for the Lakeland Magic, which I was at. Unfortunately, the game that he played last night, I was in Atlanta for my wife's business trip. I try to go to my handy dandy VPN so that I can watch Bally Sports Florida from my phone. Did not work. I was not able to watch this game. You were able to watch this game. How did Jonathan Isaac look?
I think the biggest takeaway, I mean, you can obviously, if you look at the box score, which is not what you should do when evaluating like Jonathan Isaac in general right now, we're just kind of looking to see how he is, and how mobile he is. And on that front, because I think he shot like 5 of 14 from the field or something like that in this game against the Swarm. Excuse me. And so, yeah, I mean, but as far as like mobility wise, he looked great to me. He had a couple blocks in this game, just always making a positive impact, even if his shots aren't falling. I know it's the G League, but I don't really care because it's been so much time since he's been on a court. He just looked good, man. He looked confident in what he was doing, and obviously defensively, he looked good. I'm interested to see how he does rebounding wise. He looked good rebounding in this game, but also I don't want to get too caught up in that or oversold on his rebounding right now, just because a lot of these rosters, at least what he's gone up against in the G League, their tallest guys are like 6'10", 6'9", 6'10". And that's why Jonathan Isaac also gets away with playing center. But I'm interested to see if the Magic are able to actually run him at center. We've seen, Bamba's minutes dwindling. I just wonder what that looks like. I just don't know if like I should really take it seriously, because I mean, I'm pretty sure that I saw listen, I got this from somebody on Twitter, so like, take it for what you will. But that Jonathan Isaac, and when he was practicing, they had heard or caught that he was playing a lot, like some center when he was.
I did
but I don't know.
See that on Twitter, and I did hear that when he was talking about running with the team. They were asking him like who was on his team, and he more than likely said I was playing the 5, but it also kind of sounds like he says that's the 5 that I was playing with. Like those were the guys. So I've listened to it like 15 times because I wasn't sure. And it's one of those things like, is it a blue and black dress? Is it a white and gold dress?
Right.
I think it was 0, 1, 2, 3 that mentioned that. But I also noticed that. So it's one of those things, depending on what you're trying to hear, you might hear one.
Do we know who he was playing with? I know it was Kevon and Admiral, right?
I think he said RJ, maybe. I really don't remember.
I'm just wondering if by deduction we can say that like he was probably running the 5 based on the guys he was with. But so that's what I'm wondering. But like I said, man, these guys don't have true big men, really, at least in the 2 teams they played against. So I don't know. But his rebounding looked good. Something the Magic could use right now, in terms, especially when it comes to not allowing the other team to get offensive rebounds at inopportune times. So, man, he looked good. I'm just interested. I'm really eager now to see him out on the court. It'd be a little different if I'm like, oh, he's pretty stiff. He's not. He looks like he's kind of just gingerly getting through these games, but it didn't feel that way. I thought that he was also, a little bit showing a little bit of maybe fatigue, obviously as expected, down the stretch, but I don't think it's what it was in that first game, which was nice to see. More game reps he gets, the better. Hopefully we get to see him on Friday, but we'll see. He had a great, Jonathan, I told you about it. You said that you had, since seen it, where he gets the rebound, comes down with it, goes to the other side, puts it between the legs, just pull up jumper, hits it. It was like, that wasn't there before. And again, I don't know if it's G League that he's like even attempting something like that, but I would love to see him pull that out in an actual game. Everybody would love it, obviously, but we'll see what he's got when the time comes. But yeah, we're hoping that it's coming up soon.
Now, G League is not a Eurobasket by any means, but last time we saw a Magic player doing something, we're like, well, is this real or is it just Eurobasket with Franz Wagner? And like the step back 3 for Franz like is a legit thing. So
it's common now for him, yeah.
Yeah, definitely something that Jonathan has been working on. They've talked about, the fact that his shot is looking better, and the shot is looking better. He's not exactly getting the results. Like in 2 games, he's averaging 3 attempts. He hasn't made a single one so far. So again, G League, not going to freak out about it. The biggest thing for Jonathan right now is how he's moving and like how he is playing with and through contact. And he's initiating contact at times,
sure.
and doing a good job of that. So I think I am most interested in seeing how he moves on an NBA floor. Like right now, he's able to close out on these guys. Like you mentioned, he's the biggest guy out there by a pretty wide margin. He doesn't have to really move a whole lot to be able to close out and contest these guys. It's going to be a little bit different when he's playing back in the NBA. And before, he was almost like a free safety when he back in like 2019, 2020 for the Magic, where he's just like getting in passing lanes and just kind of like closing out on guys and wreaking havoc all over the place. It's going to be interesting to see how the Magic use him. Is he going to be like in the Wendell role and just playing against 5s, playing against backup 5s? You mentioned Mo Bamba in and out of the lineup. Mo Wagner, on a given night, you're kind of rolling the dice. It still feels like the Magic could use like a real backup 5. And if that's what Jonathan Isaac is going to be at first, I think it's an upgrade. And I think the Magic could really use that. I know you mentioned, don't really want to look at the box score, but I think it still is kind of important. 17 minutes, 5 of 14 from the floor, 14 points, 9 rebounds, like you talked about, 2 blocks, 3 turnovers. In 2 games with Lakeland, in 15.7 minutes, he's averaging 14.5 points, shooting 42% from the floor, hasn't made a 3, 57% from the free throw line, adding 7 rebounds, a half assist, and a block and a half per game with 1.5 turnovers. Just comparing that to his career NBA stats. So he averaged in the NBA in how many games? 136 games. He averaged 25.5 minutes, averaged 9 points, 5 rebounds, shooting 43% from the floor. So like the efficiency that we're seeing in the G League isn't that far off of his career average in the NBA, which again, we're not trying to compare the G League to the NBA, just trying to put things into perspective. Like even if you haven't been blown away by Jonathan Isaac's shooting efficiency, don't make a big deal about it. All we want to see is him continue to play games, play with physicality, and really like the way that he moves. And by all means, so far, to me, he looks like he can really move like the same way. Now he's put on some weight, so he's not going to be quite as fast and as agile, but he's moving really well and he's playing basketball. Those are the two biggest things for me. And like you said, doesn't sound like he was as fatigued later in the game in the second game. So, there's going to be practices. I think the Magic are set to practice Wednesday and Thursday. So if they're able to scrimmage and say, okay, hey, Jonathan can play 10 minutes, 5 minutes in the first half, 5 minutes in the second half. Like, let's just get him out there. So the Magic have now ended this, 5-game road trip. They're off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they play the Pelicans on Friday at home. If they don't bring him back Friday, I'm just like, what are you waiting for? I don't know what is he going to play, 5-10 G League games before you bring him back? Playing 20 minutes a game. Just get him out there, let him play 10 minutes.
Well, so the interesting thing is that, there's no Lakeland games at home this week. They're both at, I believe, Sioux Falls. So he's not going to travel with Lakeland. I wouldn't imagine. He's going to, which would be fine if you're trying to get him back into game shape because they're actual games. Whereas he talked about like nothing can replace the games and game speed, even compared to like a scrimmage with the Magic in practice. Just not the same in terms of getting your conditioning back up to where it needs to be, which is why he went to Lakeland in the first place. So I would say, like, I don't know, man. I think it's a positive that he's not traveling to Lakeland or traveling with Lakeland because, like he said, game reps are so much better in terms of getting your conditioning up. Hopefully the Magic are just saying, implying in that way, like, he's coming back soon. And another thing to note as well, the one thing you do want to look at the box score is the minutes. Played 17 minutes this last game, whereas before I believe he was at 15. Pretty much a hard stop at the 15-minute restriction. So we'll see what that translates to. Hopefully it's like a 10 to 15-minute restriction on Friday. I would hope 10, just so you get the best minutes out of him as possible before he gets gassed. But we'll see. I think he'll play 10 minutes for a little bit, and then they'll bump him up probably in 5-minute increments. But I think it's all good signs so far.
So again, the Magic are set to practice Wednesday and Thursday. Looks like 12 o'clock on Wednesday, 11 o'clock on Thursday. The media availability on Wednesday is 1:15. On Thursday, it's 12:15. Now, the kind of joke in the media is quote unquote Magic time. So like 1:15 media availability could mean 2 o'clock for the Magic. It just really depends. My guess is that post-practice availability Wednesday or Thursday, that's when we'll know if Jonathan is going to play on Friday. I'm guessing it's going to be Thursday because they're going to practice Wednesday, practice Thursday. After practice on Thursday, hey, how are you feeling? All right, let's get you out there on Friday. It's going to be 10 minutes. We'll play you like 5 minutes at the beginning of the second, 5 minutes at the beginning of the fourth, and that's going to be it. And I hope that happens. Now we're speculating here. Like I haven't heard any like kind of rumblings or anything that he's coming back on Friday. People have just been circling that since you had, a few home games, at the end of December.
Yeah.
So hopefully, we don't know. It would be awesome. I need to make it there if he is going to play Friday, because the reception is just going to be, I think it's going to just, everyone's like, thank God. Like, it's taken so long. I know he's going to be super excited. I know fans at Amway would be super excited. And it's just like, we can finally put this behind us and move on.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll expect, obviously, like you said, that if they announce anything, when they announce anything about him in regard to Friday, it would be Thursday. Because obviously at that point, they're going to be asking him. Like, he's no longer in the G League on assignment or anything like that. And that's when the report, you would hope media, those guys would ask, what's the status on Jonathan Isaac for tomorrow? At that point, they'll say, I don't even know. Like, maybe they won't say. Maybe on Friday we'll just get it, essentially on the injury report, he was upgraded questionable, or on Thursday by 5 p.m. or whatever. So
they better not.
We'll see.
Give people time. Give people time to make plans. So many people want to be there. Like, give give fans time to make the proper plan so that they can get there and be there in person and really welcome Ji back. You announced that in like your pregame availability, you might have 11,000 people there. Like packed. Like I know that most of the games have been quote unquote sellouts, but I mean people actually butts in seats, not a bunch of it's midway through the second quarter and 15 or 20% of the seats are you can see the blue seats sitting there. So hopefully the Magic can figure it out before Friday and let everyone know and make a big deal about it because the kid deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
Luke, so this game Friday, so again, I was on a work trip with my wife. They have a big conference every year, and this year they did something a little bit different. It was almost like a wedding reception Friday night. So everyone's hanging out. The Magic game's getting closer and closer. So I'm sitting at the table, like in the back corner, just like on my phone. People are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm watching the Magic. Like, leave me alone." However, we're going to talk about this game, but I was very interested and somewhat surprised at your interpretation of a certain element of the game, something that you don't normally comment on, the officiating, and even your post game video. You mostly spent like the video talking about the officiating. So just walk me through this game. Like I wasn't as locked in as I normally would be for obvious reasons, but even I was like, what the hell is going on?
It was just there was so many things, like as far as specifics, not that I necessarily remember. I remember there was many points in the game. It takes a lot, and I said this in a tweet too. It takes a lot for me to criticize officiating because I think that they have one of the harder jobs out there. And I'm sure that they're blessed to do what they do. They make a great living, but it is still very hard to do. You're trying to call the right thing, make the right call at all times. People expect you to be perfect or else you're screwing their team. I typically don't comment on how refs officiate the game because, in my opinion, the players win the games or lose the games. Officiating, most of the time, doesn't. In this game, it was just countless. Like the amount of things that happened that were just ridiculous. And it wasn't necessarily even foul calls. It was plays where I forget the exact players involved and whatever. The ball was very clearly out of bounds, and you probably remember this.
Oh yeah,
but
Walker Kessler, 100%.
Yes, it was Walker Kessler, right? So he goes to like save the ball, and he is very clearly like making contact with the ball out of bounds, and they call it that it's their ball, not the Magic's ball, which absolutely the right call would have been for it to be Magic ball. Just things like that throughout the whole game, and I was like, are these refs screwing us right now on purpose, or are they stupid? They shot 40 free throws. 40. And Lauri Markkanen alone shot more free throws than the Magic.
He made more free throws than the Magic attempted.
Yeah, so there was that, right? Like they shoot they shoot 40, right? It was 40 free throws, I think.
Yes, it was. They shot 29 of 40.
Yeah, so that was it was special. It really was. And so just to see that, man, it was gross. Like how much they were favoring Utah. I know you're in Utah. The Jazz are a fun team this year. They've fallen off as of late. It just seemed weird to me. The whole game was weird. Like it didn't feel like we fairly lost the game. And it was unfortunate to say the least, man. It really sucked. There was things the Magic could have done better. But at the end of the day, it's one of the first, if not the first game that I have blamed a whole loss on officiating. There was just such a crazy discrepancy. It was hard, like you said, in the post-game video that I posted, it was hard to talk about anything else. Was there other things to talk about? Absolutely. And that's what you and I can also talk about. But like, all in all, I was just so pissed off at the refs after the game. I didn't care to talk about anything else.
So obviously, I know I don't have a problem like criticizing officials because it's quite literally their job, like to get it right. At the end of the day, it's their job. And it's not so much about like, oh, like you got the call right, you got the call wrong. It's when they call the same play differently, like on each end of the floor. It's like, okay, it was a foul down here. Well, guess what? On this end of the floor, it's not a foul. And something as like egregious as that, like it's a small, it's one play in the grand scheme of things, but something as egregious of like Walker Kessler is very obviously trying to save the ball, dribbles the ball like right off of the out of bounds line, right in front of the official. It's like what are we doing here? Like at least get together and be like, hey, did you see? I didn't have a great angle of that. Like, what did you think? And then, oh no, it's definitely a magic ball. It's like, no, it was like they without a doubt it was Utah's ball. Like really didn't make any sense. The other thing that drives me crazy is the review process. When you make a call, you don't want to look dumb in front of 18,000 fans and like both teams and all of the other league officials that are there. So you have like an inherent bias to confirm the call that you made on the floor so that you look correct and you don't look like an idiot and you lose credibility like right there on the spot. To me, the in-team, like the in-arena officiating crew should have nothing to do with reviews. It should come from Secaucus, like the league office in New Jersey, and that's it. Like there should be one person there. All their job is to review and then call back, down to the team, the officiating crew in the arena and tell them, no, you got the call wrong, you got the call right, whatever. Whenever a team shoots 40 free throws, the officiating is out of whack. I don't care for whatever the logic is. Even if you are like tackling them 20 times, you got to let a few of those slide. There is no universe where an NBA team should be shooting 40 free throws. It completely ruins the game. And you never lose a game to officiating. I completely agree with that. But when you are trying to mount a comeback and the refs are just calling ticky-tack foul after ticky-tack foul and just destroying any type of momentum that you have, they are certainly not helping you come back by any means. That being said, the Magic had multiple leads late in this game. They take a 106 to 105 lead on a Mo Bamba hook shot with 118 to go. They take a 1-point lead on a Markelle Fultz finger roll with 42 seconds to go. Walker Kessler, makes two free throws late, and then Lauri Markkanen, or was it the Markkanen play? There was a play late in this game. I think maybe it was the Colin Sexton free throws. I can't remember now. But a Utah Jazz player misses a free throw. The Magic are about to get the rebound to try to head back and tie the game up or take the lead. And Paolo Banchero boxes out Mo Bamba, and Utah, I think it was Walker Kessler, comes down with the rebound and then gets fouled, and now he's got some more free throws. So although the officiating was terrible, 40 to 16 was the difference. You still had plenty of opportunities to win this game down the stretch, and they just couldn't get it done. The rebounding lately has been terrible for this team, as it was at times in this Nuggets game. So yeah, the officiating was horrendous, but it's frustrating when the Magic, at this point, they were, what was it, 2-1 on the road trip, and had a chance to go up 3-1 on the road trip. Then it was 2-2. We'll talk about this Nuggets game. You had a chance to win the road trip tonight too. Didn't get it done. But yeah, Lauri Markkanen, everyone knows he's been incredible all year long. 28 points in this one, 17 of those coming from the free throw line. And Franz Wagner, 26 points, 10 of 20. Paolo Banchero, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 8 of 16. Like the thing that is super frustrating, Luke, and I know that we've talked about this a ton, it's like on a nightly basis, the Magic are scoring enough to win games. But if they don't want to defend at a high level, again, they're just not going to win these games, especially on the road with an officiating discrepancy like what we saw Friday night.
Yeah. The other thing to add, though, I will say there's no excuse for, and I alluded to the fact that maybe Jonathan Isaac can help the Magic in this department. The Magic get out rebounded 59 to 40. The Jazz have 17 offensive rebounds. It's just like, how? Like how is that even a possibility? And then, you take a look at the list of the box score for rebounds. Dell, the only Magic player remotely close to double-digit rebounds. That's in double-digit rebounds. Nobody else remotely close. Paolo with 4 rebounds. He's got to be better on the glass. Paolo has not been great when it comes to rebounding the ball. Denver tonight, which we'll talk about though, to give you guys an idea, Paolo had 2 rebounds. You've got, I mean, I get it, man. Like we expect a lot of you on the offensive end, but just get rebounds, chase rebounds, get the ball and go. Like that, there should be incentive to rebound and be able to go coast to coast. Paolo is absolutely capable of going coast to coast, but we get robbed of even seeing that because he doesn't chase rebounds. And it's just something you got to do. You can't just wait to be the outlet, man. Like you have to go after it. Mo Bamba, 4 rebounds. I understand he played 12 minutes, but Mo Wagner, 18 minutes, 4 rebounds. Just Markelle Fultz, 1 rebound. That's kind of uncharacteristic of him. But it just wasn't a great rebounding night for this team, and you've got to be better. In a night where you forced 24 turnovers too, you're doing the things to stay in this game despite the officiating. Just rebound the ball. And this team couldn't do it. They seem to have issues rebounding the basketball, especially as of late.
Yeah, and that just comes down to like positioning and effort. Like guys aren't in the right spot, and like even once you catch yourself out of position, like you can still try to fight and sky and reach for some of those rebounds. So, but yeah, was a frustrating loss. And then tonight, Sunday night, as we're recording this, the Denver loss was super frustrating as well. So what felt like was going to be a blowout at the half, the Magic were down 15, and I tweeted out the first 5 to 7 minutes of the third quarter are going to tell us everything that we need to know about this game and how it's going to go. So if it didn't go well, then the Magic are going to be down 23, 25 points. But they have a great third quarter, outscore the Denver Nuggets 34 to 25. So you're down 6 going into the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden we're looking around like, hey, this is a game to the point where the Magic are even able to take a late lead in the fourth quarter. Magic up 113 to 109, 2:21 to go. And then Fultz has a turnover, which leads to a Caldwell Pope pull-up three-pointer to make it 113 to 112, 137 to go. Wendell Carter has a massive tip dunk over Jokic, put the Magic up 3 with 108 to go. I'm like, all of a sudden, man, like we're going to win this game. And then Jokic catches the ball in the high post. I think it was Paolo Banchero that was guarding Aaron Gordon at the time. Just kind of let Aaron get behind him on the baseline, and he kind of seals Paolo Banchero, and Nikola Jokic is going to make that entry pass every single time. I went back. I think it happened 4 or 5 different occasions in this game. I couldn't understand why the Magic were continuing to let it happen, especially in the second half. But Gordon makes it a 1-point game. I think it was Franz misses the floater. Markelle tries to tip it in. Both of those missed. The Nuggets get the ball. They call timeout. We foul Aaron Gordon. He makes both free throws to put the Nuggets up by 1 with 16.8. And then for some reason, Jamal Murray fouls Markelle with the Nuggets up 1 with 15 seconds to go. Markelle splits the free throws to make it a tie game. And then Jokic, with 1.2 seconds left, puts up this step back 3, makes it. Denver's up with 0.2 seconds left, and then the only thing you can do with 0.2 seconds left is like a tip. You can like an alley-oop or like a tip-in layup or something like that. It's basically impossible to get a 3-point attempt up in 0.2 seconds left. So once he made that and you see the time on the clock, you know that the game is over. So really painful loss in the moment, still painful right now as a matter of fact. But when you see how the Magic played in the second half, that this team, who I think is now 19-3 at home this season, when it was this close, you had a chance to win. You almost won this game. It's super encouraging, but it doesn't make the loss any less painful in the moment, Luke.
Well, like you said tonight during the game, what you texted was something to the effect of, this team doesn't make any sense. And it's true. sometimes they look like a young team who is just on the up and up, and the sky's the limit. And then sometimes they just look like a young team, period.
And that happens within the span of 5 minutes.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely like a Jekyll and Hyde thing that happens with this team.
What does that mean? I don't understand that reference. What is Jekyll and Hyde? I've heard that all the time. I have no idea what it means.
So essentially, to be honest, I'm not greatly well versed on Jekyll and Hyde, but essentially, it's one person who's got like two personalities, I guess. I think it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, something like that. Basically, like you don't know which one you're going to get, and they're two separate personalities, two separate people.
All right, this is the Wikipedia right here.
Okay,
Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is an 1886 Gothic novella by Scottish author Robert Louis Stevenson. It follows Gabriel John Utterson, a London-based legal practitioner who investigates a series of strange occurrences between his old friend, Dr. Henry Heckle, and a murderous criminal named Edward Hyde. Yeah, let's see. I need the
so they're
plot.
not the same person.
Eventually, what is going on here? Jekyll resolved to cease becoming Hyde. So yeah, it's a split personality thing.
Okay.
All
right. Well, at least I was right on that.
This is your Gothic novella, literature lesson here. You all are welcome.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, that I'd say that would kind of sum up the magic in some games, where it's just like, wow, this team is really great. They're a lot of fun. They're not only fun, but they're great, and they have a bright future. And then sometimes it's like there's sometimes there's no effort, and oftentimes lately it's been more so like beginning of the game where they just get themselves in these holes and they have to rely on a miraculous second half comeback against the best team in the Western Conference. And it's like you're down 15 at the end of the first half. You can't get down 15 in the first half to a team that at the time was 18-3 at home. It just can't happen. Because every Magic fan should have that thought in their head of like, we're probably going to mount this great comeback in the second half and we could fall short and it's going to make this sting even more. And that's exactly what happens tonight. I didn't expect to win this game. Nobody expected the Magic to win this game. You come in as 10-point dogs. Like I said, the home record speaks for itself for Denver. But it hurts a little bit more when you mount a comeback like the Magic did. They play their butts off in the second half, doing a great job outscoring Denver and correcting things from the first half. And it's like all that to lose the game how they did to Jokic and his ridiculously somewhat routine but ridiculous game winner. It hurts.
Jokic finishes with 17 points, 10 rebounds, 14 assists. Oh, nice little triple-double. Didn't even recognize that until just now. Well, that sucks. Aaron Gordon, 25 points, 9 of 13 from the floor, 2 of 3 from behind the three-point line. Really killed us with a lot of the cuts tonight. Yeah, that was just super frustrating. It happened like 2 or 3 times, I remember pretty clearly in the second half of like, hey, like you can't play very far off of the baseline, especially if you're not watching your man, kind of sneak over from the corner, because Jokic just gets the ball in the high post and it's just like he can pass over everybody and is probably the best passer in the league right now. And he made that pass over and over and over and over and over again in this game. And the Magic just never adjusted. I felt that was where the Magic really lost the game. The Magic 34 free throws in this one, 27 to 34, 79%, pretty close to 80, which the Magic just seems to have been leaving points at the free throw line as of late. Markelle Fultz 3 of 6, missed that one late, which maybe changes what the Denver Nuggets are looking to do, and maybe you end up winning or going into overtime. Who knows? But the rebounding was pretty close to the same tonight. 13 turnovers to Denver's 15. The Magic shoot 48%. I mean, if you're going to point to anything, the 3-point shooting, 7 of 29, just not good enough. You got to knock down shots. But, man, it's encouraging and it's heartbreaking that you had a chance to beat this awesome team on their home floor, and then it ends in that, the game winner from Jokic, which just kind of shows you like, although Franz is great, Paolo is great, like there are still like many levels for them to get to. Jokic, I don't think it's anything crazy to say he's like top 3, top 5 player in the league right now. And when you have a guy like that, they just make special things happen. And yeah, frustrating. The Magic end up going 2-3 on the road trip. I think you and I picked them to go like 1-4. So going 2-3 doesn't feel all that bad. And now the Magic don't play again until Friday against the New Orleans Pelicans. So you got 4 days off here. Again, they're going to have Monday off. I think they have Tuesday off, and then they're going to practice Wednesday. Well, Monday. Actually, let's pull this up. Are they traveling tonight, or are they going to let them sleep in Denver and then travel? So Monday they're off. They're going to fly back. So they're not flying back tonight, and they're off Tuesday. Practice Wednesday, Thursday, and then you play the Pelicans on Friday. Kind of a weird week for us, Luke, because we're going to have to figure something out, like what we're going to do for Thursday's episode, because we don't have any games in between now and then. But the Magic play at home versus the Pelicans on Friday, and then they hit the road to play the Washington Wizards on Saturday. So a little home and away back-to-back. NBA scheduling just really, really weird. 4 days off, and then you have a home road back-to-back. Like, you couldn't have figured anything better than that out.
They had to screw somebody.
I guess so. And it seems like it's usually us when they need to do that. So, Luke, what do you think happens Friday, Saturday?
I think you lose Saturday in Washington. Scheduled loss. Pelicans, J.I. comes back. If he comes back against the Pelicans, you got to win that game. I don't care if he plays 5 minutes. You have to win that game.
We said the same thing about Markelle, and they lost.
Well, this year. I was going to say last year we won when Markelle came back. But, yeah, so I'm... The pessimist in me, coming off of back-to-back losses, and then me having to wait 5 days for a game, and the Magic not playing for 5 days, 4 days, whatever it is. I'm going to say 0-2. I'm going to say they go 0-2. It's unfortunate, but it's what it is.
You got to win that game when J.I. comes back. You got to beat the Pelicans. You're off for 4 days.
Or will they?
You got to find a way to beat the Pelicans. So let's take a look at their schedule really quickly. Before they play on Friday, so Monday at Cleveland, Wednesday versus Miami. So the Magic are going to have a pretty heavy rest advantage. I know the Pelicans are really good, but you got to find a way to win that freaking game. I don't care. I don't want to hear any excuses. The Magic need to win that game. So I have them going 1-1. Second night of a back-to-back in Washington. You lost to Washington a couple of weeks ago. They've been playing better. Probably lose that game. So 1-1.
So here's the silver lining for a team that was once 5-20. The last 18 games for the Magic. Right now, the Magic are 10-8 in their last 18. Not bad for a team that was 5-20. And even if you were to happen to, hopefully not, drop these games, you're still 500 in the last 20 games. It could be worse. J.I. coming back, I hope that they can get back on it, just get in a rhythm, work J.I. in pretty seamlessly. That would be the dream. Work guys out of the rotation seamlessly. Looking at a couple of you. And let's get to winning again. I need a win, especially on Friday after a break.
Well, if you look at the last 10, it's not quite as great. The Magic are 3-7 in their last 10.
Well, there's a reason I picked the sample.
That
I was trying to shed some
That
positivity.
6-game win streak is getting further and further away from us. So, I mean, just gotta start winning some games, man. I know we're 4 games back in Chicago. Jonathan Isaac comes back. If you can integrate him into the lineup so he's playing somewhat significant minutes, I think it can really make a difference for this team. Just getting some guys out of the lineup more so adding guys to the lineup. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Folks, we didn't win any of the games in between our last episode and this episode. But if we did, and when we do, don't forget every day after Orlando Magic victories, you can get 50% off your online order from Papa John's with code MAGICWIN as long as you are 150 miles from Orlando and you have to be further than 75 miles from that dirty city down south that we don't talk about. So looking forward to having some pizza sometime soon. That would be nice. Hopefully, it'd be nice. Friday, Jonathan Isaac comes back. Maybe have a little bit of Papa John's on Saturday while you watch the Magic take on the Washington Wizards. Maybe they win 2 in a row. Who knows? Maybe they don't. But you'll have that better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. So, all right, Luke. I really don't have anything else before we go ahead and sign off here. Is there anything else that you have or anything that maybe we missed?
I don't think so. Real quick, Jonathan, are people that are, not going to hear from us again until Thursday? We, obviously there's no games like you said. You said we got to figure something out. We got something, hopefully, right? So for those of you that are thinking, I don't need to listen to the Six Man Show on Thursday, we're still going to have something for you.
We'll have something
and
good.
there may or may not be a guest. So feel free to tune in on Thursday and see what we got. So we'll see y'all then.
All right, folks. That's going to do it for us. For Luke Sylvia, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You guys are listening to The Six Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See you.
Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!